Shalom, 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 shalom. First, I want to give all the praises and the glory to Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name of the Most High. Yahweh Shai is the name of the Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. All praises to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash. The Rakah Kodash is the Holy Spirit. This is giving all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, to the Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit, in the name of the Father and the Son. So, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, Shalom to the elders, and to the fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers who were referred to as the 144,000 brothers of the house of Israel, and to the hopefully elect sisters of the house of Israel and brothers as well, who are striving in the spirit of Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, in this truth. So, I want to do a response to this video that our apostle Gabar did. I believe it was earlier today. Today is Wednesday, the 29th of November, 2023. I believe it was earlier this morning he put this video up. And I was actually watching this video while I was on the plantation working, striving away earlier today. And I was listening to all of this video and that. And, he was speaking on racism that takes place in Merry Ole England. As you can see from the title of the video, so-called blacks had to endure racism too in Merry Ole England. And brothers and sisters, and Apostle Gabar, as you already know, you better believe that's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So Apostle Gabar was did this video earlier today, I believe this morning. It was very edifying, very, very edifying video. It was based on a video that Apostle Tahar did, which I actually watched Apostle Tahar's video last night, because he put that one up last night. It was called Babylon, and it was a brother that was preaching on the highways and hedges in the UK, in London, and the old fellow walked up to him and was complaining about Babylon the Great and how England had destroyed him, and that he was suffering. And I could definitely resonate and understand what he was saying. So Apostle Gabar here was speaking on the video that Apostle Tahar had put up, and he had played a clip from a movie called Babylon. It's an absolute brilliant movie. It came out in 1980. The movie, it was released in 1980 in the UK. It's actually a brilliant movie, and it was it was describing how things were in England during the 80s and the 70s when we grew up. Because I grew up during that era as a child, right? I'm a 1960s child, born in the 1960s. I won't give away my age, but I was born in the 1960s. All right, so I grew up in the 70s and the 80s as a teenager, a young teen in the UK, basically. Yeah, so I know exactly when I first saw the movie Babylon in about 1981, when it first came out, 1980. It was everything. It was mimicking my whole life. And one of the brothers in it, the guy Beefy, one of the main guys in it, Beefy, the actor, I actually grew up with him. He was a little older than me. He's probably about three years older than me. He went to my school, my junior school. My sister was very good friends of him. I knew him. I knew his brother, because we all grew up in this place called Tottenham. Tottenham is in North London, in England, right? Where very close. It's where Tottenham Football Ground is based as well. Which is in America they call it soccer. We call it football. So I grew up in this place called Tottenham. I also, and where I lived in Tottenham was a stone's throw from Broadwater Farm, which was an estate. In America, you refer to those places as projects. You call it projects in America. In England, we call it an estate. And I grew up a stone's throw from Broadwater Farm. And I literally a stone's throw. But as I came out my front door, it would take me a minute. And I'm not kidding you, take me 1 minute to walk into Broadwater Farm. I grew up on Broadwater Farm when I was a child, right? I spent all of my teenage years growing up as a young man on Broadwater Farm, right? Me, my brothers, not my sisters, it was merely me and my brothers and our friends and all of the people that we knew on Broadwater Farm. So I'm going to just quickly play you a clip of this video that what Apostle Gabar was speaking at, because he asked me, he referred to me in the video that he put up in terms of that he knew that I would do a response to this video. And you're absolutely right, Apostle. When I saw this, I said, I've got to do a response. I was actually going to do a response to Apostle Tahar's video, the original one. And when I saw yours and you actually mentioned me and said you'd like me to put up a response to this, and that, that I probably would do, my mind was already set to do it based on Apostle Tahar's video, but I'm going to put a response to your one because yours is, you're focused on what Apostle Tahar was saying. So let me just play a little bit of Apostle Gabar's video. Then I'm going to play you a clip, right? I'll explain to you before I play it to you of another video, right? To make you understand. So I was actually going to call this video that we are definitely under the curses, right? But I thought, let me just give it the same title as what Apostle Gabar had here and just put RE, which means response to the so-called blacks had to endure racism too in Merry Ole England. Let me play a clip of Apostle Gabar's video, and then we're going to play a clip of another video. All right. I'm sorry if I kind of went on a bit.
Because that's where, to survive the Blitz, when London was being bombed by Germany, many of the people living in England, in particular London, they would hide in the subway. They would hide in the tube because that was many feet under the ground. So the tube became, the subways became like a home for the people during that time, during World War II. So after World War II, when it was over, you had a bunch of buildings around London, South London, North London, a bunch of buildings that was damn near burned to the ground. So London had to be rebuilt. So guess who was called in? I don't have to tell you, it was cheap labor. Guess who was called into England to come into England and rebuild those buildings, to rebuild London? You got it, okay? So-called Negroes from, particularly from the islands, the Caribbean. And the first island that opened up was Jamaica. You had something called the Windrush generation. The Windrush generation started shortly after World War II. These are documented facts. You can Google this, okay? So even though they were brought there to help build England, they never really got any credit for doing that, and that there's a scripture that comes to mind behind that, whose matter of fact, I found an article on the Windrush generation. Here it is right here. What is Windrush? And I hope the brother, I know he is, because that's a studious brother, the brother from England, Yawakanan. I know he's going to do a response to this because he knows about that Windrush generation. Anyway.
So he was actually referring to me when he said that, because my Hebrew name is Yawakanan, right? Which translates in English to John, but in the Hebrew it's Yawakanan. That's my Hebrew name. Yeah. So he was actually referring to me, Apostle Gabar. And before I even saw this video, I was planning on doing a response to the video that Apostle Tahar put up, which is the video that Apostle Gabar references in his own video that he's got here. So my parents were part of the Windrush generation. My mum and dad come from Kingston, Jamaica. My mother's from Tivoli Gardens. Lord bless her, she's passed away. And my father's from Rima, all right, in Kingston, right? My father still lives in New York, in Brooklyn. And my brother's out there. My sister still lives out there because we all used to live out in New York as a family because we moved from the United Kingdom to New York during the mid 80s, the mid 1980s. But I'm going to show you another video of life in the United Kingdom, and this is not like a documentary. This is a real recorded live video of how we kind of lived and conversations that we had when we were growing up as young men in the United Kingdom, basically. In that. Now, the people that you're going to see in the video are people that I grew up with personally. I knew them personally. Everyone you see in that video, I knew them personally when I was growing up in England, in Tottenham, because I grew up in Tottenham, went to school in Tottenham, junior school, secondary school in Tottenham. And as a youth, we spent our whole life on Broadwater Farm. We knew it from back to front, from every block, building, cremise, corner, we knew in Broadwater Farm as children because we spent our whole lives there growing up. As I said, it was a stone's throw from my house. Me and my brothers, my cousins, when my cousins used to come down from East London, we would go over to Broadwater Farm. And so I knew everybody on the farm, literally, growing up as a young man. So I'm going to show you a video that someone sent to me recently of brothers that I knew, grew up with on Broadwater Farm. And you're going to hear the conversations that they were speaking on is everything that the video that Apostle Tahar had put up regarding this older man that was complaining about life in Babylon. And he was referring to the United Kingdom as Babylon because England is Babylon, in like a spiritual Babylon, because it's part of the whole Babylonian system. But we know symbolically, America is known as Babylon the Great, but all of these Western countries base their system on that system. So anyway, let me just, before without any further ado, let me play this video. And this is an actual video. This ain't no documentary. I just wanted to listen to the conversations that these brothers had. And like I said, I knew all of these brothers in this video. All right. And I'm not going to say what their names are, but just listen and watch attentively.
Broadwater Farms, it's like a little world of its own, you know. Because from you're in here, it's very hard even to come out. I mean, say you want to...
Broadwater Farm is an estate, what you would refer to as a projects in America. All right, just so you know.
To go out onto the street, you know, it's so hard to get out the place, to walk so far to even get a bus or whatever. If you haven't really got a car, you can't. Most of the people live in here 20 all day, all week. They probably might come out once to sign on. That's about the only time to see. It's the only time to see the street when they go to the exchange to sign for the little government money.
And when he says sign on, he's talking about, we refer to it as the dole. You're on the dole when you're collecting unemployment money. You'd have to go every week to sign on to prove that you weren't working, and then you would pick up your check from the signing on office, which is what in America you refer to as welfare. All right, that's what he's referring to. So you want to know, we are the true children of Israel, right? We are truly under the curses, right? So just listen up anyway.
Salary, which is bad news, man. That's how it goes, you know what I mean? That's how it goes.
Black and black don't mix. How? You go into one area, a black man and a black man can't get on. Why? You don't know what you say, right? Because you have to look at what you buy. All right, look at the works that Miss D do, right? And yet still, the paper them trying to scandal her, right? But it's not the white people them so much coming around and doing something. All right, we know the police and the government are gonna try something, but all the black people them around here and in enough place have no confidence. Them believe what they're reading in the paper, not for them. And it's a load of rubbish.
Majority of people do believe.
Well, so what? Is black people supporting black people? They're my idiot.
That's right.
They're my fool. They're envious and greedy because somebody's trying to do.
Because we are under the curses. We are under Deuteronomy 28. We are truly the true people of Israel, the children of Yasharallah, the Hebrew Israelites, because we are under the curses of Deuteronomy 28. Listen on.
For them, right? And they're not supporting it. They're not supporting it. They listen to the white people as well.
All right, listen. How much time you hear?
So this fella here that you see on the screen, right, is one of my best friends. Grew up with him in and out of each other's houses when we were younger. I know his whole family. So me and him would have been around, because he's the same age as me. Back then, we would have been the exact same age, because we are the same age. This brother here. I'm not going to disclose any names, but I know the rest of the guys in the room, but this brother here, me and him grew up together. He used to date my cousin when we were younger, school, everything. I know even now I still see him today. I know where he lives. I know what he does. I see him every now and then. I've known his whole family and so forth, right? I'm just trying to give you an idea, right? That when I'm explaining to you, this was reality in England in the 1980s, and little or nothing has changed today in 2023, except today we know who we are, that we that have come into the truth, that have woken up, all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, we know that we were under the curses. But back then, we had no clue who we were. And you're going to understand why I say this when you hear the conversation that's going to take place next, right? I didn't mean to stop it, but I just needed to interject that to you. You're going to understand that we did not know who we were back then. Now we know who we are. And we give all the praises and the glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai for that, for waking us up. But back then we didn't know. And you're going to understand why I said this. Listen on.
People say, me study this and me study that.
It's the same thing.
Me study try. She try. There's always, as I said before, there's always someone to put me study down. Or put black people down. You try to reach the top, they try to put you down. So when me study God, how we are going to cope?
I'm showing you.
Who's going to be there to say, well, this and that?
Support each other. They don't.
You know, don't think about that, do you?
Black was divided.
Because black man too ignorant.
Right, I'm showing you, and I'm showing you.
I'm not divided.
Hold on now. Listen,
I'm not divided.
I'm showing you. If because you say we fight, if because you say we do this, we do that, we're not divided, then you're mistaken, right? Because if you go to listen to me, West Ham supporters, Millwall supporters, Chelsea supporters will come together. We'll come together to beat up black man. Don't tell me about no past, right, Rasta?
It's the truth, though.
They'll come together to beat up black man, right?
That's something that's been happening for years. We can't hide from that.
That's why we're trying to put something now.
All right, where do we get
So we didn't know we were under the curses. I just want to read out a precept here, right? I'm going to continue playing it. There's only about 5 minutes left I'm going to play out this, but I'm going to continue playing it. And I may stop it from time to time just to bring out precepts out of Deuteronomy 28, right? So Deuteronomy 28 verse... Let's start at verse 15 first. It says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord, Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." So we didn't know we was under the curses back then, but we know now. Verse 16, Deuteronomy 28, chapter 28, verse 16. "Curse shall thou be in the city, curse shall thou be in the field, curse shall be the basket and thy store, curse shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shall thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shall thou be when thou goest out." Now, I'm going to jump around in Deuteronomy 28, right? I want to go to verse... Where is it? I want to go to verse 54. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54. It says, "So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, and towards the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he has nothing left in the siege and in the straitness, whereas thine eyes shall distress thee in all thy gates." Now this goes back to 70 AD, all right? 70 AD when Jerusalem was taken down by the Romans. But my point I'm trying to show you here is that these curses are twofold and threefold. So when it says, "So that the man that is tender amongst you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother," that's what they're talking about. Black man, so-called black man against so-called black man. "And towards the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave." Right? So this is what they are discussing there right now. How they are towards each other. But they did not know that they were under the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. They did not know that. And this is the point of what I'm trying to show you here. So let's listen on.
Well, I know. Hey, listen. I love Michael. I have my 6-year-old son look for me and tell me he want white. That's what Malachi tell me, you know.
Right. And then that means that
you say you want to grow up white because if you grow up white, you will have a better chance. A 6-year-old boy tell me but that. Wrong. I mean, never tell him nothing about black and white from him born.
They're saying his son is coming home. This is in the early 1980s. Coming home, his 6-year-old son's coming home and telling him that he wished he was white, because he could see how Esau was living, having such a great life. No pressure, no oppression, no racism, you know, no discrimination, no incarceration. 6-year-old son coming home and telling his father he wished he was white because we were under the curses. But we did not know back then. Well, we didn't know. The apostles knew because they just came into the truth around then, and their elders knew, but we did not know here in the United Kingdom.
Him not wrong. As a youth, him not wrong. You think about him thinking, I England this, you know.
I'm a 6-year-old boy can look for me and tell me say he want white.
I'm not wrong, because I England this.
He want me tell him, God don't make you white, you know. He say, listen, daddy, when I'm 18 or 19, I'll be white. And when I tell him God's not making him white, he's upset. because he cannot be white. So what's going down? My fault. I never taught him about racism.
It's your fault.
Why is it my fault? It's his school
You're
fault.
making the same mistake, man. You don't have to teach him about racism.
don't
All
tell
you
him
got to
nothing.
teach him is that he is black.
He knows he's black. I've told him he's black.
Another curse. Because they said that we are black people. There's no such thing as black people. We are different shades of brown, from a dark, dark, dark brown to a light, light brown. What is our nationality? We are the Israelites. But we were brainwashed in their, what Apostle Tahar likes to always use, their fool system, which they call their school system, their fool system. We were brainwashed to believe that our nationality was our color. No, we did not know who we were.
Right? He goes to school and a white boy look on him and tell him to rot it. You're better off if you're white.
And he come back and
because they knew back then, even a little 6-year-old white boy knew back then that they had the upper hand, that this was their kingdom. So a 6-year-old white boy tells a 6-year-old so-called black boy that you'd be better off if you were so-called white. Because even the 6-year-old white boy back then in the early 80s knew that he was in a privileged position. His people were in a privileged position. They ruled the world. He could see, from a 6-year-old, could see the oppression that we, so-called black people, was under in the United Kingdom. So he told his fellow 6-year-old so-called black boy that, you know, you'd be better off that you were white. So I'm going to go to the book of Baruch, chapter 2, verse 4. It says, moreover, he has delivered. Let me start at verse 1. Baruch chapter 2, verse 1. It says, therefore the Lord has made good his word, which he pronounced against us, against the true children of Israel, and against our judges that judged Israel, and against our kings, and against our princes, and against the men of Israel and Judah, meaning the whole 12 tribes, to bring upon us a great plague, such as never happened under the whole heaven, as it came to pass in Jerusalem, 70 AD, according to the things that were written in the laws of Moses, that a man should eat the flesh of his own son and the flesh of his own daughter, 70 AD. Moreover, he has delivered them, after 70 AD, he has delivered them, the children of Israel, to be in subjection, to all the kingdoms that are round about us. So when we were delivered into the British Empire, into the United Kingdom, we were delivered there to be under all subjection, under all the kingdoms that are round about us. And no matter where we went as a people, so when we left Jamaica on a Windrush to come to England, we were coming to England to be delivered there under subjection. When we were taken from the west coast of Africa and put on slave ships and brought to the Americas and to the West Indies, we were taken there to be under subjection under the so-called white man, Esau. So Baruch says here, chapter 2, verse 4, moreover, he has delivered them to be in subjection to all the kingdoms that are round about us, to be as a reproach and desolation amongst all the people round about, where the Lord has scattered them. So everywhere that we were scattered, we were going to become a reproach. It says, thus we were cast down and not exalted, because we have sinned against the Lord our power, and have not been obedient unto his voice. And we didn't know. That's why we was under all of this oppression, going all the way back to the transatlantic slave trade. Verse 6, it says, to the Lord our power, appertaineth righteousness, but unto us and to our fathers open shame, as appeareth this day. Open shame. That's what it felt like for his son to come home and say, wish that he was a so-called white boy. That was open shame. Open shame. He felt shame on himself. I say again, Baruch chapter 2, verse 6. To the Lord our power appertaineth righteousness, but unto us and to our fathers open shame, as appeareth this day. Open shame. All right, that's what pertains to us. Let's go back. Sorry. Let's play a little bit more.
You have him for 6 years and the white boy tell him that and him come back and tell you same why?
I don't know what it was.
Are you a dreadlock?
Listen, he's been going to school for 2 years. So me don't know what am I teaching my school.
We are second generation black people in this country. The first generation went through that. Can't we learn from our own mistakes?
So who was the first generation? What Apostle Gabar was referring to? The Windrush generation. So we were thinking back then things were going to change. Nothing changed for us, as you can see from this live conversation recording. 2023 today, 43 years later. This is 1980. 43 years later, nothing's changed. Or say 40 years later. This is the early 1980s. All right. 40 years later, 4 decades later, nothing has changed, except now we know who we are. We know who we are. All right. We go back to Baruch. It says, for all these plagues are come upon us, which the Lord has pronounced against us. Yet have we not prayed before the Lord, yeah, that we might turn everyone from the imagination of his wicked heart. Wherefore the Lord watches over us for evil, and the Lord has brought it upon us. For the Lord is righteous in all his works which he has commanded us. Yet we have not hearkened unto the voice to walk in his commandments of the Lord that he has set before us. Because back then we didn't know who we were.
Hey, can't we learn from our own mistakes? Look,
Millard,
don't talk to me like that.
What would your son say? It's no, you're talking to me like I'm saying to myself, boy, it's all right for you to be white. I'm telling you what my 6-year-old son come tell me. What would you tell him?
I'm not holding him responsible. I'm holding you responsible.
Why me? Why am I responsible?
Show the man the difference.
He knows he's black. He doesn't know anybody but black people.
Listen to me.
How am I responsible?
Listen to me.
How am I responsible as a black man? Tell me.
Try and understand what I'm saying.
I don't understand what you're saying. I think you're quite negative.
Listen, I went through that, and I know. Listen to me, man, and I now know why I went through that. I know why my parents gave me a little skinny comb like that and said, comb your hair with that, when that comb couldn't possibly comb my head.
I don't teach Malachi white culture.
So what are you teaching?
Black culture.
How?
At yard. I teach him about black culture.
How do you teach him about black culture?
What do you mean, how do I?
See, that was our downfall. What we should have been teaching was the scriptures, but we didn't know. The Lord wasn't ready yet for the remnant that was in the United Kingdom, because this is when the remnant was coming together in America, right? From Marshall, right? The elders, the apostles, their elders, the 7. The Lord was, this awakening started in Babylon the Great, America. It hadn't come to the United Kingdom in the early 1980s. And if it did, we wouldn't have been ready for it. I wouldn't have been ready for it. I know that for a fact. As much as I always believed in the Most High and was always close to the Most High in Yahushua, I was still under the white curse of white Jesus. I was still under that belief of the scriptures, white Jesus, in the early 1980s. So I wouldn't have been ready for this truth back then. But America, Babylon was, because the Lord was ready now to wake up his remnant. And he used those men, Ariel, Marshall, the apostles, the other 7. He used those men to open up the eyes of the elect, to wake them up. But we weren't ready here in the United Kingdom. We were still being oppressed, and we're going to be oppressed. This is why the scripture says here, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 45. He says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not the Lord Yahweh thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all these things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron, transatlantic slave trade, upon thy neck until he has destroyed you. So by the time we've got to this stage here, we are a destroyed people. From the 350 plus years of slavery to the 100 years of the lynchings that took place in the Americas, the incarcerations, the oppression. By the time we got to the early 80s, we were completely a destroyed person. This is why we was on this, black this, black that, black this. We want to be black, I want to be black. Listen up.
You ever teach the boy how to grow, Rasta?
What do you mean how to grow?
How do you teach
He's a
them about
6-year-old
black
you. What can you
culture?
tell a 6-year-old
That's
you?
right, you don't know how to teach a 6-year-old black culture.
What do you mean black? I'm black, I'm not white.
Yes, that's right, you're
So am I
black.
going to bring him up white? When he comes down, we don't eat fish and chips.
So what's he eating?
The black culture is what the white man gave us, the so-called white man gave us. Those were part of the curses, family. Those were part of the curses. When the Lord says, the Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed. I'm reading from Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 20. The Lord Yahweh shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. That's the underlying thing. We forsake the Lord, and Esau played a major part in helping us forsake our true power by bringing us to white Jesus, giving us their churches. When the Bible was our book, but we didn't know who it was. We didn't know the name of the Most High. We didn't know the name of the Son, Yahweh Shai. We didn't know the name of Yahweh. We didn't know that we were the Hebrew Israelites. We were not these so-called black people that these Edomites told us that we were. Black is a color, not a nationality. I've said this so many times before. Listen up.
Is it rice and peas?
But what if I'm telling you more fish and chips do?
In the
You tell say we don't like rice and peas, more fish and chips. But you tell me you can't eat nothing? You can't eat nothing because you want fish and chips?
He does tell me that.
And
I've got to say, that's probably the best thing they do in the United Kingdom is a good old plate of fish and chips. It's probably the only fast food takeaway that I eat probably once every month, if that, is fish and chips. I can't lie. They got me on that one. Anyway, listen up.
it don't make no difference. It don't make no difference. If you say to him, say, well, all right, you want fish and chips. Well, fish and chips is not your real food. No, I'm not saying you can't teach him. I said, can he understand at 6 years old?
Then how are you going to understand that he must eat what you tell him to eat?
Not what me telling to him. We are giving something to eat what is for good for him, right? I'm trying to put it across. It's
Yeah,
good
but
for
you
him.
try to tell him that he must understand that he must have what you tell him because he's a kid.
Yeah, all right then.
So why can't he understand anything else apart from that?
Now make him grow first. Now make him grow first.
The man is
You're
right.
mistaken and you're living amongst bare
You live in
black.
a- you
Listen
live
to me. So what books you gonna read?
You know more about black people than white people, innit? You know you're white.
I know more about white people than I know about black people.
That's what the fall system teaches you about Esau. And anything he taught about us was negative, stereotyped. You know, there was nothing positive they spoke about us. They taught you about them. They were the creators. They were the good people. They was the Most High. They were the angels. They was Yahweh Shai. They was the Lord. They were the creators of all of these devices and things in the world. They were the ones that civilized the world, that gave you planes, trains, and automobiles. Anything about us was complete negative or stereotype. We were the criminals. We were the savages. We had to be trained. This is why Apostle Tahar calls it the fall system, because this is what they do. It's corrupt. It's lies. It's not historical. It's false. Everything they taught us in their systems was to deny us of who we truly are, the children of Yasharallah, the true children of Israel, the Hebrew Israelites.
Why is that?
What do you mean, why is that?
You choose to learn about white people, innit?
What do you mean? I've had 16 years. I had 16 years of teaching about white people.
Hear that? He's had 16 years of teaching about white people. Where were those 16 years of him teaching? In the fall system. But we never knew any better. I'm just trying to show you that we were truly under the curses. We never knew any better. Baruch chapter 2, verse 12. O Lord, our power, Yahweh, we have sinned. We have done ungodly. We have dealt unrighteously in all thine ordinances. Let thy wrath turn from us, for we are but a few left amongst the heathens where thou hast scattered us. And this is what they basically all crying for. They're asking for the Lord's wrath to turn from them. But at that time, in the early 1980s, they did not know who they were. They did not know who they were. We did not know who we were in the United Kingdom.
I learned nothing about black people. I know, listen, I now know more about white people.
He has not known nothing about black people.
It's up to you to go to the library to learn about black people.
You're right. We're right. We're black. We have to live as black, but we have to live in the white system. You understand what I'm saying? We can't go out there and say we're going to fight the system to be white. That can't work. That can't work, Rasta.
If you're black, now listen to me.
You're
if
black
you
and that's
are
it.
black, all right, answer me. If you
We were so brainwashed, boy, about this, black, that, black, this. But we didn't know any better. I'm just making you understand that. We are the Hebrew. We are the children of Israel. We are the children of God. We are the children of Yasharallah. We did not know that. They painted this thing. They gave us this name based on a color. They did not tell us what our nationality was. And then any other nationalities that we clung to was what they created.
you are black, right, and you are trying to live in a white system, and the system will not let you live, what are you going to do?
Why are you trying to be the white system, though?
We're going to turn to the Lord. And you know what I loved about this when I saw this sister here? Look at her hair. She's got all of her natural, real hair. All of her curly, natural hair. You'd be lucky if you see that today. She's got all of her... I can remember the sisters like that growing up, man. I can remember how they used to look. And 9 out of 10 times they'd be wearing a dress or a skirt when they went out to the parties, to the raves, going out, you know, to events and that. I'm wearing their natural hair. You'll be lucky if you see a sister that has that today, that has her naturally hair like that, whether it was short or long.
Would you choose to be?
You're in a white system, that's what you said. You're in a white country,
isn't it?
Well, we're in Esau's system. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. That's the one thing that they could all agree on, that we're in Esau's system. We're in the system of the wicked.
My country. That's what you fail to understand. This is my country.
And my country too.
That's it.
Right, you understand me?
I'm in
Right?
Barney,
I'm not into no white business. This is my country.
We didn't know any better. He's saying this is my country, my country. We're so proud to be English and English spring. But we didn't know any better. We didn't know who we were. Today, we know who we are.
You're born here and you live here all your life.
That's the difference.
Right. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it there. I pray you were edified by this response I wanted to give to Apostle Gabar's video, what he was speaking about, and the fact that he brought me up and he asked that I probably would do a response. And I had it all in my intention to do a response. So I pray you were edified by today's video. I want to give all the praise and the glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders and great millstone. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Keep praying, keep safe, repent, and hold on.